In order to show you how this one goes together, I've decided to use one of the smaller buildings that you can get, and show you basically how to put the whole thing together. Now, I've taken some shortcuts on this video, and that one of those is that I've glued some of these together. As you can see, those three are glued, so we don't need to worry about those, and also three of the small bits that go around the roof are also glued together as well. So I'm just going to basically glue one example of the detailing on the walls and then one example of the detailing on the floors, and then I'll put the whole thing together and show you how that goes. So first things first, you're going to need some polycement. Now if you feel the detailing, you'll notice that one side is a lot smoother than the other, and what you want to do is you want to stick the side which has the sort of raised edges, you want to put that face down onto the second piece. So what I usually do is I run some glue around the very outside of the piece I'm gluing. Then I go across and then drag the edge over the smaller pieces just to make sure it's going to glue. Again, have a feel of this to see which side is the best side to glue on, and then put it in place like that. This is quite difficult to do on camera, but hopefully I'm getting it right. And then all I do is I put it on a flat surface and just apply some pressure. What you'll end up with after that is another piece there. So what we've got is we've got our four pieces there. Now when I go on to detailing the bits that go around the top of the roof, these ones are really simple. Just put a piece of glue right down the center. Again, feel for which side has the flattest side, otherwise you'll be sanding it. Lie it across the piece like that. Make sure it lines up with all the edges, like that. There we go. And set that down. So what we've got there is we've got all of our bits that are going to go around the roof. They've got a little bit of detailing here. This bottom edge here I use as a guide when putting these together. So let's just put these off to one side. Now, the actual main structure of the building has two pieces that have one scratched into the surface, two pieces which have two scratched into the surface, and then two small square ones with the number 3 on them. These are also numbered as well. They'll have 4 and 5 written on them. 4, I don't know if you can see that there. Just there. Anyway, the 4s are the longer pieces and the 5s are the shorter pieces. That's all you need to really know. You just need to be able to identify which ones are the short and which ones are the long ones. So I'll start off with the number 1s on here. Again, what you want to do, similar to layering these up, is you'll put some styrene around the very outside, and then just a little bit of styrene in between, like that, and then glue it onto the piece, like that. And then I usually lay it on the table, flatten it down, and there, with a little bit of nudging, is one of the number 1 pieces done. Simple. Now we do the other number 1. So here we go. Same again. Glue on the back. And onto it there. Now the cutout bits I'm using for this aren't the best cut in the world. It's actually one that I was trying something out on the cutting machine, and it didn't really work, but I thought I'd use them in this build example just simply because it doesn't really matter. It's exactly the same process. So these here now are our 2 number 1s. There we go. You get faster at this as you do them, so we'll put those down there. Now the number 2s are slightly different because they're actually a bit thinner. So what we want to do is on this one, instead of going with the glue right the way around the outside, we can go across the top and then just inside down the edge. Just inside, and then do the normal crisscross there. Okay, and what we'll have is when we put it down, we should find there's a slight overhang, and you can see that on that edge and also on that edge. So just try and get it as as level as you possibly can. Doesn't need to be perfect, but it will. The closer you get that, the nicer the building will look in the end. So that's one of the number 2s. Here we go, the last one. Oh, try not to drop it. There we go. This is our last number 2. So place it where you sort of get an idea of where it should go, and then on the back, go like that. Now, you will find that if you're using the extra thin poly cement, it dries a lot quicker, and that makes this process a lot more difficult. So, if you can, just try and use some of the less thick, not the thick stuff, but not the extra thin, and that gives you a little bit of time to play around with getting the positioning right. What you should find is that you have a lip on either side. So we've got 2 number 2s, 2 number 1s. So what we're going to do is take our 2 number 2s and the number 4s, which of course are the longer ones on here. What you should find is that when you lie them together, you should find a number 4 is as long as the solid piece on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of glue across the bottom, like that, and then glue it to the top. This becomes the top edge of the roof. You can use the detailing on the roof to sort of guide it. There we go. So that's one piece, and of course try and make sure that it's in line with the styrene as well that's on the back, and that gives us a flat top. And do the same to the other one. So we grab the other number 4. Again, make sure it's the same length. So the 2 shorter ones will go on the other edges. That looks about right. Put the glue across the bottom. And pop that on the top. Like that. Again, using the detailing to get an idea of how high that needs to be, and sort of eyeballing to see if it's straight. And that gives us 2 edges there. Now, what we want to do is we want to use this number 2 as our starting point, and we put a line of glue along the lip that we created by having the shorter edge. There we go. And lay one of the number 1s against it. So just basically make sure the bottom is flat and the top meets there. There we go. Hold that for a few seconds. It should start to stick. There we go. Now we can take one of the shorter top edges. Again, stick glue on it as we do with the longer ones, and pop that on the top edge of this other piece, using the detailing and also the other bit that we've stuck as our guide for how tall that needs to be. There we go. That one's come a little bit unglued. Obviously did a great job of gluing that in the first place. And that will get you a corner like that. Now what we can actually do is, now that we've glued these 2 bits on, we can run some glue along the bottom edge of those 2 bits and then grab our number 3. So you want to make sure the number is on the underside, and this becomes our roof. So we basically just push that up against the bottom of those 2 bits like that, and then that should, you can use the table as a sort of guide and push it down. That will give you a roof. It's also a very stable point now to start gluing the rest of the things on. So we can run glue against this other side, and then maybe down the edge there, and we can get our other number 1 and stick it there. So making sure that it goes into the part of the corner that we want it to. There we go. Now, to give it structure, we've got our other number 3 piece. So what I usually do is stick some glue down there, across the bottom, and then up the side. Get our other number 3, and then just simply put that in place. Doesn't matter which way this goes because it is square. There we go. And then we've got the 3 sides of the building in place. Now, all we need to do is stick the final piece in. So, same again. We've got 2 ledges, or 2 sort of edges now. We can put glue against those, across the top and the bottom. And this top bit should stick on like that. There we go, because we've stuck the top on already. That's already in place. It's probably worth sticking a bit of glue across the top there, just to make sure that stays in place. Now this does clip, or click rather, into place at parts because of how it goes together. I want to make sure that they're all the corners are pushed together and are seated as you'd expect. There we go. Okay, right, last bit to do is this one last roof ledge, for which we take the remaining detail and pop that in. And it should just sit in there nicely, and you can adjust that to be in line if you need to, like that. So I've gone a little bit lopsided there. It's not a problem, you can just lift it on the other corners, and that will give you the building. There's a little bit of a problem here in the corner which I can just push together like that, and that is a solid building. It's as simple as that. There we go. And that pretty much is ready to start playing with straight away. They're rock solid as soon as the glue dries. Right then, that's basically how it goes together for the main structure. Now we have these parts here, and these just basically glue across like that. So what you want to do is put 2 lines of glue at a time, and then these will probably be curled, but again you can feel which has the rough edge, and you just put that against the building, push it down like that. Now these are actually slightly longer than the buildings are, the idea being that they stick over at the edges. That one's in place, and then we grab another one, put it in the next one, and so on and so forth until it's all done. So that is 2 of the 4 for this one edge, and you can see the effect that gives there. It makes a nice sort of break between the floors, and it also gives some definition to the edges as well. There we go. And just carry that on all the way around with the other sides. Right, and then when you're finished, you'll have one of the little buildings done. The bigger buildings is the same deal, except it's 3 floors higher and one of these sections wider. So all it is just working with bigger sheets and gluing it together in exactly the same way.